What is going on, my friends, and welcome back to another video on the channel. Well, DOT has continued to make the moves in which we thought it would. It's broken through its all-time high in price discovery and is looking absolutely phenomenal. It's kind of crazy how this whole thing has played out and how it has just been acting perfectly on some of our different calls. I mean, just 2 weeks ago, we were talking about this retracement in which we were possibly going to see. Now that we broke the 786, from there I said that DOT was set for a new all-time high as it established support on top of the 786. And just a week later, we saw this massive move to the all-time high. So major congratulations to anyone who did get in on DOT as we were covering it over the last few weeks. Now, if you are in the Patreon as well, you do know, as you can see here, that we started a midterm position in DOT at $31. That was on October 1st. And since then, just a day and a month ago, we are up over 66% in counting. So of course, big congratulations to anyone in the Patreon who was able to get in on that. But with that being said, of course, let's go ahead and let's take a look at what I'm expecting to see from DOT now and where and how I'm playing this thing. Now that we have parachains coming in just about 3 to 4 days, we're going to start seeing that slowly have an effect on the price. And then of course on November 11th is when things should start getting really crazy. And so with that being said, let's kind of see how this all may play out. So at the moment, of course, now that we have broken through our all-time high, at any given point we could retrace back down to our $41.11 level. Of course, now that we've broken an all-time high, a retracement back down to the 786 is very common. So if that is the case, and if we do see that happen, I don't want you all to be afraid of that. I don't want you to be like, oh, this is it, it's a double top and we're just absolutely crashing. These retracements are incredibly common. But overall, I do believe that in the long term, we are looking at still some absolutely parabolic gains for DOT, okay? I think that with the parachains coming over the next 2 weeks, I think that with all of the staking that is going to be done in order to get in on some of these auctions, the overall utility in the ecosystem that is being built around Polkadot is going to expand so dramatically that the internal value of the ecosystem itself will grow, leading to a growth in price and a justifiable growth in market cap. Now we can also see here that there are some major indicators again showing us that there is the potential for another parabolic run. The first one being the MACD cross. Of course, we did see this 2 days ago. We talked about the fact that this was just a day away. I said if we get one more green day, look for this blue-orange cross, and that is exactly what we saw. This is actually recorded as the highest level for a blue-orange cross on the DOT charts, which just goes to show the true strength here. I mean, we can definitely be looking at some type of massive extension that we've really not seen before. That's definitely within the realm of possibility. Now we can also take a look at the RSI and look at that we're really not seeing any bearish divergence or anything of that nature to be super worrying at the moment. Now, of course, we can see here that we have barely gone up and set this new high here. I mean, it's very minor, but it is to be considered that we set this higher high on the RSI. Now, this was going to be important because in times, when we've seen that we were reaching a top for DOT, you can see here that we were setting lower highs on the RSI, lower highs, while we were setting higher highs. So even when we were seeing some of these bullish MACD crosses, we were seeing massive bearish divergence on the RSI itself. But what you can see here is that we are correcting any type of possible bearish divergence by going up to set this new high to correct that and to invalidate any type of bearish divergence while seeing a massively bullish crossover happening on the MACD. I love to play these two together. If we're getting a bull cross with no bearish divergence, that is a great formula for an absolutely massive climb to the upside, okay? Now, not only that though, another reason I do believe that we could be looking at some huge gains, and I will give exact numbers very soon, is due to what our Bollinger Bands are doing at the moment. Now, although we are very extended out of our daily Bollinger Bands, and typically speaking, this is going to fall at some point and go back to our moving average, you can see that our moving average has now cleared successfully the $41.11 level, which is of course our 0.786 level. Now, this is so important because if the price is to retrace, there's a strong chance of it finding support on top of this 20 SMA before correcting below the 786. And when we fall below the 786 level, again, that is typically a sign that we could be looking at a fall to the downside. But the fact that we do have such a strong level of support, being the 20 SMA above the 0.786, it goes to show that if we fall, we could very likely bounce off of it and continue upwards without having the threat of falling below the 0.786 as we saw back here, okay? So with that being said, on the daily charts, we do have a key support level that has broken above another key support level, which is a massive move for any crypto in general. general. And so with that being said, where do I think this thing can go? Now, do remember, I do believe that at any given point, we can retrace back to that 20 simple moving average as shown on the Bollinger Bands. Do remember, when we're looking at the Bollinger Bands, there is pretty much almost always, when we get too extended, we will resort back to our moving average. These Bollinger Bands are found by having 2 standard deviations away from a moving average. And so if the price does get 2 standard deviations away, it means it's going to be outside of this blue line, outside of the envelope. And typically a crypto cannot maintain being 2 standard deviations away from a moving average for long, meaning that they will eventually resort back to that moving average. So at any given point, if we fall, do be looking for this 20 SMA to hold. But in terms of upside potential, I do believe that we could be looking at a massive move for DOT, okay? First and foremost, we're going to draw our Fibonacci's and try to get this price target based off of our extensions. Drawing a Fibonacci from our all-time high down to the low that was set on July 21st. Our first pit stop, in my opinion, will be at the 1.272 all the way up to the 1.618, somewhere following this trend line of resistance. I do believe that this is going to be these interaction points, and I think that there is a strong chance that going towards the middle of January, we could at minimum be at $75. I don't believe that this is where we're going to be. I do believe we're going to be much higher than this, but kind of looking at where this trend line gets us mixed in with our Fibonacci's, that is going to be the minimum estimate for me. But personally, I would rather look at this from more of a logarithmic view of things. And with that, I would go ahead and say that we can definitely be looking at closer to $150 to $235 DOT if we do continue into a parabolic bull run. Now, of course, if we do look at this again from a logarithmic view, you can see here that our trend line does resort a little bit higher towards our 2.618, even up to our 4.618 towards February, which gives us about $194. So my current price target at the moment, I would say at minimum, with all of the internal value being added to DOT, I do believe that in the long term, we are definitely going to be looking at a $100 plus DOT, but we definitely by the end of this bull run could still be looking at a massive accumulation all the way up over another 250 to 300% back up towards $200. That's my max. That's really my big goal. If there was a perfect number I could say, I was like, yeah, I'd love for DOT to hit $200. That's a 4x from here. I do believe that if we do see hundreds of billions of dollars being funneled into the altcoin market, that DOT would definitely take advantage of that, and we can definitely see that its price and market cap do increase by over 4x. And so with that being said, at the moment, based off what we're seeing on the charts, I do believe that we are in for a parabolic run. I do think that we can get even further extended, even if we do have a correction. I think that we could be looking at setting some even new high on the MACD. We could be looking at our RSI working its way back up towards that 90 level, which is only at 70 right now. So there's just so much room to work, so much internal value being added. I genuinely do believe that we could be looking at massive gains for DOT. And so with that being said, that is my outlook on it right now. Now, I know this was a bit of a longer video, but when these cryptos go into price discovery, I really have to break it down all the way to the fundamentals, because I have to explain my thought process, because again, it does get easy to just say, oh, it's going to 4x or it's going to 5x. But if you guys don't understand why, it may start to get it may become easy to get lost in all the info. So with that being said, again, I hope you guys did enjoy today's video. If you did, of course, you can let me know by smashing that like button and subscribing to the channel if you are new. Don't forget to go check out the Patreon if you do want to get in on these trades. And if you are outside the United States, go sign up for ByBit. When you deposit $500, you have a chance to win another $500 for free. It's definitely worth the try, and it is an absolutely phenomenal exchange. But with that being said, I will see you all in tomorrow morning's video. Have an absolutely amazing night. Peace.